Let's bring in political analyst Michael Geoghegan, joining me from Williams Lake, British Columbia. Michael, great to have you on the program. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
So let's get your sense on what we heard from Minister François Champagne in terms of his comments on this situation. Do you think that Canada's actions are going to have an impact, or is it just a move of solidarity with regards to Germany and the G7?
Well, I think it's more the latter. Obviously, for most of the Western world is well aware of the fact that what was formerly the Soviet Union, now Russia, under Putin, I mean, there's been no shortage of opposition leaders who have been assassinated by various esoteric means. It seems like every other day someone is having their tea poisoned or they're being thrown out a window or off of a balcony. So, I mean, Russia is in many ways a gangster state, being run by a criminal element, and it's a very, very dangerous situation for anyone trying to stand up to that and trying to have Russia kind of join the first world in terms of being, a democratic nation.
And as we're keeping a close eye on those developments, there are a lot going on in this country here with regards to, the political roller coaster, if you will. Let's first start with the situation regarding the GG. Julie Payette, we know that there is an investigation underway in terms of what has been going on in Rideau Hall. The Prime Minister, however, saying very recently, calling her an excellent Governor General, later on this week, and saying no plans to have her replaced. This, as of course, Trudeau and the Liberals are being put under the microscope over a number of issues. So I want to get your take on those comments and how this may be perceived.
Well, I think, as you've indicated, it's certainly difficult, if not impossible, for the Prime Minister to in any way cast aspersions on the Governor General, not just for constitutional reasons, but also because it's not like he isn't under a cloud himself on other matters. But the other thing I think is that I think the Liberal government wants to be positioned in such a way that they are free to react either positively or negatively once we have the report from the independent consultants. So if that report is damning, I suspect there will still be a conversation with the Governor General. If, however, the report is not significantly damning, then I suspect they'll be inclined to let her finish her term. But the Governor General's future is going to depend a lot on what the findings of that independent investigation are.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I'm looking at the other side of the aisle there, the Conservatives now having a new leader in Erin O'Toole. Your take on that decision there, but what you think O'Toole is going to be able to do to revamp this Conservative Party, especially if there's that possibility, be it slim or not, come September 23rd, when the throne speech is given and there's a vote of confidence, potential for an election. But your take on, is this the person that is going to turn things around for the Conservatives?
Well, I think he has the potential to do so. In that, certainly in terms of his background, I think it's one that a lot of Canadians can identify with. He comes from a middle-class background, served in the military, etc. And I think he was one of the less socially conservative candidates in the race, and although he's reached out to socially conservative folks, he himself really isn't, and he's certainly moved to put his own stamp on the party. And I think he's also recognizing that the Liberals, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, they've done quite a significant shift to the left. I mean, the CERB payments that a lot of Canadians have literally found to be life-saving. I mean, that was originally an NDP proposal, which the Liberals adopted. So I think he's astute enough to understand that the Liberals are probably going to continue to shift left in terms of policy, certainly while we're all under this pandemic situation. And so he wants to make sure that the Conservatives are not so far to the right that they lose sort of middle-of-the-road Canadians. So I think it's going to be an interesting adjustment for him, where he has to do a balancing act of keeping social Conservatives on board while at the same time reaching out to people who might have been disaffected because of the WE scandals or other issues, to say, hey, Conservatives is an option worth looking at.
Do you think he's going to take a different tactic in terms of calling the Liberals to question, different from what we saw from Andrew Scheer, where it was, holding press conference, coming to the podium and reiterating and repeating same things, but there was no movement forward in terms of here's what the solution needs to be, or here's what the alternative needs to be?
Well, he certainly needs to do that. If he wants to put forward a vision that Canadians can buy into, he has to be clear on what that vision is. Okay, so what would you do in this situation? There certainly seems to have been some recognition by Mr. O'Toole that the sort of the just in a sense giving more in the way of breaks to businesses, large businesses, etc., is not so much the issue now. Now the issue is how can we prop up the consumer, many of whom have lost their jobs or have significantly less in the way of income, and the CERB payments and now the loans that have been made available to the small business sector. They've done a tremendous amount in terms of helping the Canadian economy keep sputtering along under this lockdown. And certainly, our societal fabric is doing much, much better than, say, our neighbors to the south.
Well, a lot to keep a close eye on in the next couple of weeks. Political analyst Michael Geoghegan, great chatting with you, Michael. You enjoy the rest of your day.
I will. Thank you.
Take care. Coming up.